Hydra. Imagine a criminal empire so efficient it ran like Amazon, but for the dark web. Hydra was not just a marketplace. It was the foundation of the entire Russian darknet economy. Launched in the mid-2010, it quickly grew into the largest darknet market in the world, with over 17 million users and thousands of vendors operating within its ecosystem. What made Hydra truly powerful was not just its scale, but its system. Instead of relying on traditional delivery methods, it introduced the dead drop model, where couriers hid packages in physical locations and shared GPS coordinates with buyers after payment. This removed face-to-face interaction completely, making transactions far harder to trace. At the same time, Hydra functioned as a financial hub. It offered cryptocurrency mixing services, exchanges between crypto and local currency, and even illegal services like fake documents and hacking tools. At its peak, billions of dollars flowed through the platform, turning it into something far more complex than a marketplace. It became an entire underground economy. When authorities shut it down in April 2022, the impact was immediate. Revenues across darknet markets dropped sharply, proving just how dominant Hydra had been. Ramp. Before the empire, there was a blueprint that quietly shaped everything. Before Hydra took control, there was Ramp, the Russian anonymous marketplace. It was one of the earliest structured darknet markets in the Russian-speaking world, operating more like a forum than a modern platform. Deals were arranged manually, and trust was built slowly through communication and reputation rather than automated systems. What made Ramp important was not its size, but its influence. It introduced key features that would later define darknet commerce, including vendor ratings, reputation systems, and early escrow-like protections. Unlike later platforms, it deliberately avoided certain high-risk services to reduce attention from law enforcement. Over time, however, pressure increased, and by the late 2010s, Ramp disappeared. Mega. When the king fell, Mega didn't wait. It expanded into the chaos. After Hydra's shutdown, the market didn't collapse, it fractured. Vendors and buyers scrambled to find new platforms, and Mega quickly emerged as one of the dominant replacements. Within months, it was processing tens of millions of dollars in transactions and attracting thousands of listings. What made Mega stand out was its integrated financial system. It wasn't just a place to buy and sell. It allowed users to exchange cryptocurrencies, store funds internally, and even obscure transaction trails. This reduced reliance on external services, which in turn reduced exposure to tracking and surveillance. Mega also showed how bold these markets had become. Instead of staying hidden, it reportedly used public advertising tactics, signaling a shift in confidence among darknet operators. Blacksprut. This is where the business stopped being quiet and turned into open conflict. Blacksprut rose rapidly in the aftermath of Hydra, becoming one of the most active marketplaces in the Russian darknet space. But its story is defined as much by conflict as by growth. As competition intensified, markets began attacking each other using distributed denial-of-service attacks, hacking attempts, and coordinated campaigns to disrupt rivals. Blacksprut was frequently targeted, and at times, entire platforms were taken offline temporarily due to these attacks. This marked a turning point in the darknet ecosystem. Markets were no longer just competing for users, they were actively trying to eliminate each other. At the same time, Blacksprut continued to rely on the same dead-drop logistics system popularized by Hydra, showing how deeply that model had become embedded in the system. What emerged was not just a marketplace economy, but a battleground shaped by technology, strategy, and survival. Kraken. If Hydra built the throne, Kraken came to claim it. Kraken appeared almost immediately after Hydra's fall and positioned itself as the next dominant force. It adopted many of Hydra's core features, including escrow payments, cryptocurrency transactions, and anonymous access through Tor. But what set Kraken apart was its aggressive expansion strategy. In a move that surprised many observers, Kraken reportedly used real-world advertising, including branded vehicles and public displays, to attract users. This level of visibility would have been unthinkable in earlier years, but it reflected a new phase of competition. Financially, Kraken grew rapidly. eventually handling hundreds of millions of dollars in transactions annually and even surpassing competitors in revenue growth. Its rise shows how quickly power can shift in the darknet world. One platform falls and another rises, not slowly, but almost instantly. Solaris. Some markets don't just compete, they strike first. Solaris became one of the key players in the post-Hydra ecosystem, but it distinguished itself through aggressive tactics. Reports indicate that it was linked to funding cyber attacks against rival platforms, including payments to hacker groups to launch disruptions. Technically, Solaris offered features similar to its competitors, including cryptocurrency payments and internal exchange systems, but its strategy focused heavily on dominance through disruption. Instead of simply attracting users, it aimed to weaken competitors directly. This reflects a broader trend in darknet markets. As competition increases, the line between business and cyber warfare becomes increasingly blurred. Markets are no longer just platforms, they are strategic operations. Oh my God. Oh my God. Market. The name sounds chaotic, but the system behind it is anything but. The market quickly became one of the most important platforms after Hydra's shutdown. In its first month alone, it generated millions of dollars in revenue and captured a significant share of the market. What makes Oh my God unique is its focus on user security and survival. Features like the kamikaze password allow users to instantly destroy their accounts if they suspect compromise. This reflects the constant risk users face and the level of paranoia that defines the darknet environment. Interestingly, blockchain data shows that many former Hydra users migrated directly to Oh my God, suggesting continuity between the two ecosystems. In many ways, Oh my God didn't just replace Hydra, it inherited part of its user base. Genesis. Not everything sold here is physical. Sometimes, the product is your identity. Genesis Market operated differently from traditional darknet markets. Instead of selling drugs or physical goods, it focused on stolen digital identities and access credentials. Users could purchase login sessions, banking access, and personal data, often packaged in a way that allowed them to bypass security systems. One of its most advanced features was session replay, which allowed attackers to mimic legitimate users without triggering alerts. This represents a more technical side of the darknet economy. It's not about physical distribution, it's about digital infiltration. Markets like Genesis power large-scale fraud operations, making them just as significant as traditional marketplaces, even if they operate differently. BlackMarket. Some platforms disappear, but their influence never really leaves. BlackMarket was one of the earlier players in the Russian darknet space. While it never reached the scale of Hydra or its successors, it contributed to the development of the ecosystem by experimenting with systems and structures that later platforms refined. Markets like this are often overlooked, but they play an important role. They test ideas, build networks, and create the foundation for larger platforms to grow. In the darknet world, failure is not wasted. It becomes part of the next evolution. RuSilk. Global ideas don't stay global, they get adapted. RuSilk was heavily inspired by early Western darknet markets, but tailored its operations for a Russian audience. It adopted escrow systems and cryptocurrency payments, but focused on regional trade and logistics. This highlights a key difference between Russian and Western darknet markets. While Western platforms often operate globally, Russian markets tend to focus locally, using systems like dead drops to maintain efficiency and reduce risk. That localization is part of what makes the Russian darknet ecosystem so effective. Monopoly market. Control a niche, and you control the market. Monopoly market focused on specialization rather than scale. Instead of offering everything, it concentrated on specific categories, building strong trust within those areas. In darknet markets, trust is everything. Buyers rely on reviews, reputation, and consistency. A specialized market can often outperform a larger one within its niche, simply because users trust it more. MagBO. In this world, data is not just valuable, it is power. MagBO represents the data-driven side of the darknet economy. It focuses on selling financial information, server access, and compromised accounts. These platforms are essential to cybercrime operations.